This session represents the international collaboration involving not only research institutes, but also university from Taiwan, Malaysia, and Korea. Actually, this research team also includes 3 more researchers from Japan and the UK. Our distinguished panel includes, we have Yonggi Kim again, Associate Research Fellow, STEPI, Chen Yuan Wang, Professor National Tsinghua University, Boon Ki Eun, Associate Professor, University of Malaya, Hee Kwon Kyung, Research Fellow, Korea Institute for Industrial Economics and Trade. Dr. Young Kim, floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. I'll see you again. I think that this session is quite important for us because me and Dr. Professor Wang and Professor Ng and Professor Baek and Dr. Hyuk-jung Kim and Professor Toru, Professor Chunmi, it's a 7 institute that made this project together. So can you see this booklet, the backside of the booklet, the partner with the STEPI, this intelligence report, is that there is a second law, is that the whole 6 institution is participate in this project. Actually, this project is chatting with Professor Wang, because the intelligence project is a separate kind of the research project with global collaborations, based on the global collaboration. The Dr. Che is helped me to do, and promote me is to do eagerly. So I talk about this issue with Dr. Professor Wang. Is how about the first stage is like this. How about making a comparative analysis report between Korea and Taiwan? That he is also very ambitious guy like me. So how about bring more countries to this project? And so we started from the 2 countries. For right now is 7 countries. And so Korea, Japan, China, US, Taiwan, Malaysia, and UK. So 7 countries, we made some comparative report together. This comparative report is the composed of the sections. The second section is the national comparative analysis section. There is 5 items: the current status, national strategy, and industry ecosystem, and corporate dynamics, and the final one is a future outlook. These all things are focused on, as you know, the 7 countries are very important at the semiconductor value chains. You know, UK, what is the most important company at the UK? Actually, the chemical and oil. Okay, there is a lot of important country, but at the semiconductor section, we know that right now that country is Japan countries right now, but the ARM, ARM, and also the first MPU startup, Graph Core, very important monument at the MPU startup history actually, and also the China full stack self-sufficiency strategy, and the Taiwan indispensable portraits of the foundry, and the Malaysia nowadays, you know that packaging nowadays a rising star at the packaging, and US, as you know, we already know the answer, and the Korea, what is Korea? HBM, you know that HBM and the other memories actually section. Japan, you know that Japan is a powerhouse for the equipment and materials. Yeah, indispensable actually. We cannot change actually. We only focused on the kind of export control of the US, Japan, and Netherlands is going to be together. TOK. There's lots of countries. So 7 countries are very important. But this kind of traditional law is changed by the AI revolution. So that's the research purpose together. So right now I'm going to explain the panel. Is Professor Wang Chen-Yuan is from the National Tsinghua University. He is very good at economics and the semiconductor ecosystem and global supply chain systems, and helped me to do a lot. And Professor Ng Boon-gi is from the Malaya University. He's a professional and the expert at the science and technology policies and also the semiconductor issue as well. And Dr. Kyung, actually, when you do a research at the Sejong Research Complex, if you find any semiconductor research papers, brief or things, and you should cite his papers actually, at least one time. He wrote down a lot of the semiconductor issue and brief at the KITE actually. He's a very good expert and professional at the semiconductor sections. So after the panel, panel introduction is I'm going to explain a bit about our project, and then I'm going to the question section. The first one is I have we researched together for this kind of the AI revolution project. So this project is composed of the three parts. First one is a kind of an introduction, AI revolution, and the traditional value chain. How does it change it? How does it reorganize? And the second section is a national comparative analysis of the 7 countries. So I asked each professional of each countries making a subtitle of each countries. So I'm going to starting from the Korea. The Korea is a memory giants, pivot to AI is kind of the Korean's subtitle, Korean section. The Taiwan section is unrivaled leadership in advanced logic fabrications. And then Japan, I think that Professor Igata already know the answer, but the resurgence of a materials and equipment powerhouse actually. And the UK, a niche power design and innovations. And then the Malaysia, the rising hub for assembly, test, and packagings. In US, the architects ambitious onshoring. And the China, we know the answer. The quest for full-stack self-sufficiency for AI and chips. And so based on this kind of the comparative analysis for the section part 2, we are going to the section 3. Section 3 is a kind of composed of the 3 comparative the diagram or some kind of table. That is today's questions actually. So I'm going to do our question sections. Are you ready?
Sure, boss.
Yeah, question is like this. I already talked about a lot. So AI revolution is a give a gigantic impact to the traditional value chain of the semiconductor manufacturing, from the architecture and design to the real manufacturing and fabrication and the ATP process. So my question is like this. In the AI era, how are nations redefining their traditional supply chain roles to enhance their influence actually? So could you, Dr. Wang?
I start first? Okay. Hi, everyone, and thanks, Yonggi, for having me here to share with you some of my observations about the dynamics of a few countries in Asia and how they have drive AI chips, AI manufacturing, and AI-oriented type of designs and activities. So my observations, my answers to Dr. Kim is that, right, AI, since the introduction of ChatGPT, become the central point, okay, of many semiconductor firms in Asia, especially the manufacturing one, to double down, live up the game, as well as try to find a way to find their niche and build their competencies. Taiwan, for the case of Taiwan, it has been endowed with very strong domestic supply chain, of which we can see that, for instance, TSMC command the productions of advanced chips about 90%, okay, of value adding of the world. And then, of course, come to second will be Korea, Samsung. The third will be UMC, Taiwan again, of which commanding about 6% of value adding in logic chip productions. Besides that, Taiwan also endowed with other forward and backward linkages, of which when you come to backward, packaging and testings, company like ASE and others actually producing and value adding about 50% of the world. And forward one, IC design, we can actually relate it to MediaTek and other companies, basically being perceived as number 2 in the world after US for IC design. US controlling about 70% of value adding in IC design, but you'll be surprised after US will be Taiwan, even slightly higher than that of China, mainland China. So they have some advantage. For the case of Taiwan, it has some advantage. When ChatGPT being launched, it surprised the world, and the world realized that AI chip is important. AI chip will empower interactive AI more and more. If that company like TSMC has some advantage, because company like NVIDIA, before it got big, it was a very modest company, and then it has collaborated with TSMC for few decades, since 1990s. So it has advantage to some extent to learn what is AI chip, what construct AI chip, and how or what technology or processes it takes to build AI chips. So TSMC has been know that before and invest in advanced processing, advanced packaging for long time. So when AI become very popular, there is huge demand for AI chip. TSMC has advantage, and then eventually NVIDIA become very big. When it comes of market capitalization is $1 trillion company, and he has led a pathway for upgrading, inviting TSMC as well as SK Hynix to come together to build kind of conglomerate, so that there will be a path where they could actually define what make AI chip matters. So that is what we see here. So TSMC has advantage to build advanced processing, packaging, of which with SK Hynix, it can actually define the 3 chiplets in AI chip: processing, graphic, and memory. So with that kind of chiplets in one AI chip, they can see what to be combined and what it can drive interactive AI in the virtual world. So what we see here is that they are charting the path of manufacturing technology for other firms like MediaTek. Basically, they also get more and more important, where they actually see themselves double down, rise up their efforts in building chipset, because phone become more important, because all of us own smartphones and we need AI more and more, to interact with other people, with the virtual world. So they also step up the game, build upgrading process, utilize more and more AI tools to actually make itself comparable to that of Qualcomm chip. So I can see that Asian firms has a lot of opportunities to rise up. And of course, beside the challenges, which we might discuss later, all these firms who involved in semiconductor industry early will see itself upgraded time to time and open up more opportunity when like-minded countries seeking collaborations with firms in Korea and Taiwan.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Wang. You summarized all the story of the South Korea and the Taiwan. I think that is, you don't have to do any more in this session. Thank you so much. And Professor Ng, what do you think about the question?
Yeah, thanks, Yonggi. And hi, thanks for having me in this dialogue. Actually, Yonggi asked me to cover 2 countries here, the US and Malaysia. And following from the Taiwan case just now, let's talk about US. I think we all know that U.S. has been long maintained a position of upstream dominance in the semiconductor value chain. American countries such as NVIDIA, AMD, and Qualcomm, they are the main or giant company leading in terms of chips design, IP licensing, and electronic design automation, EDA. However, I think we are also aware that the current situation, the global development has prompted the country to have a more different strategic policy reorientation. With the growing concerns over value chains, challenges, technology dependency, and national security. So we see that the U.S. government have enacted recently, the CHIPS and Science Act, in which is trying to rebuild the local manufacturing capability in terms of semiconductor value chains. This make a transition, from a more design-centric role into a full spectrum of value chain control in U.S. It means that from R&D to design to fabrication and then testing and also advanced packaging. We also see that based on those kind of agenda, there are some major efforts in terms of these transformations. So we see high-profile investment, for example, in terms of TSMC, advanced fabs in Arizona, and also the Intel also start expanding their investment in Ohio. That's a generic background about in U.S. How about Malaysia? Yeah, Malaysia over the past 50 years, Malaysia has become one of the major players in the semiconductor value chains, especially in the back-end operation sections. So Malaysia are competitive in terms of assembly, testing, and packaging, ATP. And a cluster that frequently cited as a successful cluster in Malaysia is Penang E&E cluster, in which they are very competitive in terms of outsourced semiconductor assembly and test, OSAT. So the cluster hosting multinational company and also several local champions, making it a cluster that dynamic for technology upgrading to a higher value chain in semiconductor development. Like other countries as well, Malaysia, developed countries, facing the challenge in terms of this transformative demands of AI-driven era. So the country also invests in high value added activity. So like the next generation OSAT capabilities, advanced packaging solutions, which serve as important elements for chips performance and integration. So recently, Malaysia have launched 2 integrated circuit design park in the state level, that is the state of Selangor and also the Penang. At the same time, the country also have a strategic roadmap and policy, to try to anchor the development of E&E industry in Malaysia. I think I stop here. I think there will be more question coming in later.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your the opinion and your answer. Actually, is understanding the Malaysian situation is always we do find through the already translated, someone's already researched about the Malaysia situation, and we can get that kind of the information as some kind of the research papers. But getting an information from the local researchers and about the point of view of the systems and the kind of your structures are very helpful to make research more practical and more giving us more insight to us. Actually, thank you so much. And Dr. Gyung, could you give me your point of view? You only external researcher of our project.
Oh yeah. So you asked via email to talk about things about China's response. So I'm gonna talk about China's response, although I am invited as a Korean guest.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's this thing called San Francisco Consensus in Bay Area in the United States. That means in 5 years, we're gonna get to AGI or ASI, Artificial General Intelligence. Like you remember the entity in the movie Mission Impossible 8 or 9 something. So the strategic competition between the United States and China now centers on the artificial intelligence competition. So the strategic intent of the United States, I think, winning the AI competition against China. And for that purpose, they are trying to cut off advanced nodes, semiconductors, equipment, technology, or intellectual properties. So the natural or inevitable responses of China is to increase domestic capabilities on chip designs, wafer fab equipment and materials. And if I summarize China's tactics or their strategy, they are trying to overcome technological inferiority with their massive demand. They are known to be global hub for ICT device manufacturing, including automotives, industrial robots, not to mention smartphones and tablet PCs, and consumer electronics, and nowadays data centers. And one startling difference between China and European countries, or including South Korea, Japan, or middle powers, is that they have their own big tech companies. They also have companies like Alibaba or Tencent. They have hundreds of millions of active monthly users in their ChatGPT version. So they are not really thinking about catching up with the United States inside the CCP. They think they can build up autonomous, independent AI ecosystem, not only in China, but countries where Chinese Communist Party's influence can reach. For example, multiple Southeast Asian countries, Africa, and Eastern Europe. So the implication will be East Asian nations will face a bipolarization environment where the AI and internet standards of China and the United States clashes, forcing us to choose between China and America. And coming back to the semiconductor sector, if China catches up in advanced nodes, Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, we are all gone. So maybe in a decade or two later, we might be thinking, although Trump's tariffs are causing us a lot of troubles, maybe we think this period of time, U.S. trying to delay Chinese technological development, it's kind of fortunate for us. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Kyung. Your opinion is very, very impressive. And at some point, it's pessimistic, but very, very good to understand. I think that China is doing some self-sufficiency and kind of first tech strategy. I totally agree. Actually, about the few months ago, I going to some kind of the conference that's related with the data center and AI energy issues conference, the global conference. At the time, some researcher from the ASEAN is talking about the issues that ASEAN's the data center guideline and the roadmap is that their total full kind of some the facility and package is supported by the Huawei as a demonstration and the kind of some the roadmap full packages. And so it means that what you say is the same with this, is finding some of the Southeast Asian countries and just to help them is making their track record for the kind of some the test bed and the demonstration of their structures actually. So I think that that's a very important stretch of certain countries actually. And it could be very helpful in these situations actually, the technology hegemony between the US and China. So this semiconductor issue is directly related with this kind of two very strong countries issues. And so I'm going to talk about this kind of issues. And so we have only 15 minutes. So very short question, but a very lengthy opinions. I'm very happy. And so I'm going to ask actually a very similar question. What is opportunity and challenge? Does the transformation of these traditional supply chains in the AI era present for Korea? Actually, just I think that is because Professor Wang is researcher about the Taiwan situations, and Professor Ng is a researcher about the Malaysia, and Dr. Young is always see the global perspective of the semiconductor value chains. It means that all of you have a very totally different idea of this kind of change and this kind of transformation make an impact to the Korea. And so could you tell me the opportunity and challenge very short?
To me, I could see I'm a bit optimistic person. Okay, the optimistic encounter to the point of view. I would like to share something about optimistic because there will be time when there is technological hegemony competitions between US and China. There will be time where some of my friends do not like me to label some other countries as middle power. Okay, to me, middle power economy eventually might be us, okay, to choose, and maybe some of them might going with the middle path, of which they might want to have both. Okay, technology on one hand from China, on the other hand maybe from the Western economies or Western country. Okay, of that aspect, it gives a lot of rooms for Korea, for Taiwan to collaborate, to reach out and build competencies with all this economy, middle power economy or open-minded economy, Australia, Canada, and so on. So I see a lot of potentials, okay, of which there'll be times some country may need affordable chipset for their phone. Okay, maybe some days India or Turkey may think that they would want to have their own branded phone instead of keep importing from, say, China, Vivo or Xiaomi. There'll be time they might want to reach out, say, MediaTek. For memory, HBM, they may want to collaborate with HK Hynix and Samsung. It opens more rooms for firms in Korea to build collaboration. That is my point of view. Yeah. So then, of course, not all developing economies or countries in developing economies can afford Apple phone or say afford Qualcomm chip. Okay. Then therefore, if they still intend to build local brand, they will reach Korea and Taiwan. So that is one aspect I have think of. Okay. And then of course, coming to the challenges. Okay. Yep, good to talk about the opportunity, but nonetheless, one shall not be overlooked about the challenges. The challenges is that, well, at this point of time, the superpower, for instance, US, very keen and interested to reshore, or they call it reshore, okay, or would have manufacturing activities back to their shore. And with that, there'll be a time where it's kind of a pendulum swing, during Biden administrations, they invite Korea, Taiwan to build manufacturing activities. There will be carrot, but right now, Mr. Trump want you to relocate or else there will be huge tariff, right? So therefore, that will be the challenge. If relocations of manufacturing capacities going out of the home base, Korea and Taiwan, which is Korean Taiwanese firms are very comfortable building very productive activities locally. If it's moving up more and more, there will be time, there might be a fear where the so-called sacred mountain, in Taiwan, there's called secret mountain where there's a mountain where it protects, it's a tail, okay, old folks tale where it protects all type of crisis in Taiwan, okay, that can be eroded, if it's moving out more and more. That will be one fear, at least for the case of Taiwan. I think the fear may be shared as well in the case of Korea. And then second, of course, right now, at this moment, we see the government is favoring local firms. The US government is favoring local firms. Okay, means that they would want to have their own firms like Intel and Micron to do more on their show. Okay, so they may receive more support, subsidies, who knows, okay? And then that might be also a fear where doing this will eventually increase the so-called visible hand interventions and may also, what we all fear is that they may erode as the competitiveness, okay? Was the competitiveness in such value chain, okay? Of which what we fear is that both ecosystem in US and China, both in US and US Asian allies can be affected, by seeing such interventions to take place more and more. That's my point of view. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Wong. Your point of view is it's very impressive, actually. Actually, the global macro, the situation is quite changed. And also, based on this kind of the macro industry and the macro some political situation changes, it should have a great impact to the former industries, actually. So your point of view is I totally agree and very, very impressive. How about is a two sentence? Two sentences, please. Only 8 minutes left. But I think there is someone have a question. So
All right, I try to be short and sweet.
yeah, sweet.
Yeah. I think for opportunity, maybe I want to touch about 2 points here. First is about the market. I believe Korea have been investing a lot and develop your competency in terms of AI, databases, chips, and your high bandwidth memory. I think that might be create a new opportunity to venture into a new market. Second, maybe Korea can take opportunity in terms of regional partnerships. Like currently there is a strategy of China plus one. So maybe Korea can consider to work more closely with Taiwan, and then maybe Japan, or even come to Malaysia. So I try to promote Malaysia here. In terms of challenges, 2 points. Okay, very quickly with 2 points. I think first, the country cannot avoid to depend on the global market. So now the challenge is that the US and China technology decoupling issue and so on. So that creates uncertainty in terms of market access and the material supply. And the last note here, I want to emphasize, since I'm from university, so about talent, I think the whole world, maybe I'm wrong, but I think the whole world is looking for talent in AI, especially AI engineer, IC designer, and so on. So while the whole world looking for talent and how to retain and train talent, I think, a country like China and Malaysia as well, we have a tough time to secure a good talent in this particular area. So I give back to you, moderator.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your answer, and also about the talent. Talent matter is also very important is we are considering. And so the time is out of running. So
I'm going to
Dr.
be
Gyong.
very short.
No. Can you do a long? Yeah, okay. yeah.
So let me be more pessimistic. So I told you about China worries. Now I want to talk about America worries, because we are really worried about Micron and integrated electronics, Intel, are rapidly catching up. Let me explain. One of the traditional advantages of East Asian manufacturing companies, including South Korea, Taiwan, and Japan, is cost. Thanks to infrastructure support from governments such as land, electricity, water, and tax incentive subsidy exemption of tariffs on equipment and materials. But because of the passage of Chips and Science Act in America, in the year of 2022. And this is big, one big beautiful bill. Trump touted one big beautiful bill as a very beautiful legislation, but it's a really big thing. U.S. companies now can enjoy immediate expensing. That means all the R&D costs, Intel alone spends $25 billion in a year for R&D costs. And all the construction costs can be deducted from corporations' taxable income. So I think for big companies like Micron and Intel, this immediate expensing, aside the CHIPS Act, they can save more than $5 billion a year. And what worries me even more is that this immediate expensing, changing the clause in Internal Revenue Code of the United States, it's been permanentized. So more than $5 billion in government subsidy in tax reduction form is going to happen every year. So our cost advantage is now, I think, gone. So maybe our respective governments should bust their asses to catch up, or we're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, these are the professors and Dr. Young's opinion is quite various, but we know that it's still there is an opportunity, but the challenges also become more fierce. And so it means that difficult challenge. It could be difficult challenge. But now we have a very short daggers actually. Its name is HBM, and it could be related with others memory sectors and advanced chips like the CXL, PIM, something like that. The MSIT and MOTI is put less of the national budget to R&D of these kind of chips. And so lots of people say that is securing a gap at the HBM and other issues also very important. But even though pretty less of the budget, but it never means a great success or some securing a super gap as it is usual. And so we should find another is securing some gap at our own some strong point actually. And so I think that it's a few audience having a comment or some of the questions. And so could you? Anyone?
Everybody's tired.
I think that this is a last session. So finally, the remaining people are very strong. I think that.
Here?
Yeah.
저는 말라야의 응bun이 교수님한테 질문을 드리고 싶습니다. 그 말레이시아도 최근에 뭐 말레이시아, 베트남, 인도가 그
Your question.
Can you translate?
Okay. He doesn't have the translator. Yes.
에서도 그동안에는 뭐 조립 패키징 이런 거에 중점을 두었다가 Can you hear me? 두었다가 이런 경제 안전 보장 관점에서 인도도 뭐 독자 칩을 개발한다거나 말레이시아도 좀 더 상류 공정의 인재를 육성한다거나 아니면은 독자적인 IC 칩 설계 이런 쪽에 인재 육성도 함께 하고 기술도 그쪽으로 중점을 좀 둘다는 그런 게 그 정부의 전략상에 많이 나타나고 있는데요. 과연 저기 그렇지만 제 생각에 아직까지 아세안은 그런 인재들이 그런 생산 공정 그쪽에 치중되어 있어서 아무래도 그렇지만은 말레이시아에는 많은 다국적 글로벌 기업 반도체 기업들이 들어와 있고 또 최근에 제가 좀 말레이시아에 대한 그 조사를 해봤을 때 그 다국적 기업들이 이제 인재를 확보하기 위해서 말레이시아의 대학들과 그런 협력 이런 것들을 하는 그런 움직임들이 많이 보이고 있는데 여기 타이완도 있고 한국도 있는 반도체 기업들, 큰 글로벌 기업들이 있는데 말레이시아에서 그런 어떤 글로벌 기업들의 인재 확보, 그런 경제 안전 그런 관점보다는 제 질문은 그런 대기업, 글로벌 기업들이 말레이시아나 아시아안에서 인재 확보에 대한 어떤 차이가 있는지, 그리고 제가 느끼기에는 타이완이 좀 더 물리적인 거리가 가까운 탓으로 조금 더 타이완 TSMC 이런 쪽에서 더 적극적으로 나서고 있는 것 같은 인상인데, 실제로 말레이시아에서 그런 글로벌 기업들이 말레이시아 내 인재들을 확보하고 또 반동으로 말레이시아 정부는 자기들의 자국 인재를 확보하기 위한 어떤 그런 시책이나 그런 것들이 있으면 좀 소개를 부탁드리겠습니다.
Something like that. You can is explain is kind of securing a talent or some kind of getting some the great investment from the big tech.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. I think maybe I try to summarize the questions. There are a lot of opinion and questions in the just now. So maybe I think our friend tried to ask that there are a competition between a large company, especially the multinational company, to attracting talents, from the country, and how Malaysia respond to that. I think there's a valid question. There are surveys that have been done in Malaysia. Usually, when the student graduated from a university, the top student will go for multinational company because they have a better offer, maybe a good career prospect. But when the country try to develop own local company, local technology capability, and so on, the own SME, so this group of SME, they are not able to get a good talent to go into that because they are not able to compete with the MNC. So this brings to the role that can play by the government. To me, especially government at the local level, the state government, like I said just now, we always quote the example of Penang at the northern part of Peninsular Malaysia, which is a very successful semiconductor cluster. So the company, especially the local company, working closely with the university, providing internships to the student in the university, and try to retain them after the graduations. I think this can be a more proactive strategy by the companies, the local company, when they try to compete with the small pool of the talent, especially you mentioned about IC design and AI engineer. So yeah, it's a challenging task for the local firm, and also a challenging task for the government to retain the talent and try to avoid the brain drain, especially those from Malaysia that go into other countries like Singapore or to Taiwan. So I hope I answer your questions. Thank you.
Anyone more? Yeah, already 3 minutes passed. I'm sorry for this 3 minutes. Actually, for the closing remark, I'm going to summarize a little bit what it did together. So the kind of collaboration and value chain transformation and reorganized because based on the AI industry growth and its demand on the AI chips. But this AI chips is connected with the lots of value chains. Is another legacy level. This is a kind of advanced level, and the rest of the very low nanometers foundries are needed, and also the EDA and the rest of very state-of-the-art IPs and the ATPs. It means that lots of countries are focusing on their core competency to their another competencies. So it could be being is this kind of changes is going to be more faster than before. And so in my thought, is that this kind of the value chain, under this kind of value chain, the countries' collaboration will be fragmented, and selective concentration and selective cooperation will be stronger than before. And so Korea is also should be focusing on their opportunity and challenge and the kind of some of the R&D is a point R&D points actually by the government. And so I think that today is the professor's comment and the Dr. Kyung's comment is very helpful to understand the situation under this kind of some the AI revolution and the change of the traditional value chains. And thank you to panelists and everyone for participating in today's in-depth discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoongi Kim, and all the panelists. We are now all done. Distinguished guests, as we conclude the 2025 STEPI Intelligence Dialogue, I'd like to sincerely thank all participants, speakers, and our think tanks. The insights or comments from today will be included in each joint research report to be finalized at the end of year. So we hope each report will support to shape policy design. Hopefully, this think tank network leads to stronger and a more aligned strategy among like-minded countries. So thank you once again for your participation, your expertise, and valuable contribution to this international cooperation in the field of CT securities. We wish you safe travel home. This is our very first dialogue. I look forward to continuing to the next year. So hopefully see you next year. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.